Welcome, my name is Alden Reed and you are watching Arcane Tablets. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to continue introducing each of the 12 color tribes individually. As you can see, our journey now brings us to Eastern Europe, the homeland of the blue color tribe. If you are not familiar with color tribes, I have a few videos up on my various channels and platforms which can provide you with some important introductory material. Basically, there are 12 human color tribes, and each tribe represents a color from the visible light spectrum or rainbow. Each color tribe has its own unique set of physical color characteristics, which symbolically anchor a unique metaphysical color energy. So as always, we like to start by situating ourselves geographically. As we might imagine, primary regions are areas where the blue tribe is going to be clearly predominant, while secondary regions are areas where the blue tribe is still present, but probably more color blended, and where other color tribes are in some cases more predominant. Primary regions include Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Lithuania, Poland, Czechia, Slovakia, Hungary, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Serbia, Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova, and Georgia. Secondary regions include Latvia, Estonia, Finland, Germany, Austria, Montenegro, Albania, Kosovo, Macedonia, Greece, Turkey, Iran, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, the United States, and Canada. So here we have a map showing us the core regions of each of the color tribes all around the world. And this will help give you a better sense of where the other color tribes are also located. And again, I've got other videos up about each of these color tribes, so I invite you to check those out. So again, we can see that the core blue area here is very much in Eastern Europe, extending into Central Europe and the Balkans as well, but absolutely in this core area around Russia, and even extending into, of course, the Eurasian steppe. Here is where we're going to find a lot of mono blue people. So now we're looking at a map showing the core regions of these 6 color tribes in West Eurasia and North Africa. Obviously, this is a very crowded area of the world, and it's one of the reasons why there's been a lot of dynamic civilizational growth and progress in this key area of West Eurasia and North Africa. So again, of course, we can see more clearly the core blue area, really Russia and Belarus and the Ukraine. These are the areas where we're going to find the most mono blue people. And of course, the blue tribe will still be strong in a lot of these other regions, but they'll start to be a little bit more color blended with some of these other color tribes. So now let's take a look at the greater blue region, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So here's a map of the greater blue region. So obviously, again, we've got our core area here in Russia and Belarus and Ukraine. But of course, it'll extend all throughout the Baltic and really all the way through Germany as well. Naturally, in these areas, in northern Germany especially, and Poland and throughout the Baltic states and up through Finland, and even in northern Russia and northern Belarus, this is going to be a very blue-violet area, right? There's a lot of violet color energy coming from Scandinavia, so we're going to find a lot of blue-violet people in these regions. But it'll extend all the way into, of course, Austria and down in the Balkans. And here in Czechia and Slovakia and Austria again, there'll be some more blue-violet energy. Now, as we get a little bit further south, though, it's going to be more mixing with the green tribe, right, from southern or Mediterranean Europe. So throughout Hungary and Romania and Croatia and Serbia and Bulgaria, right, there's going to be a lot of green-blue color energy in these areas. And of course, the blue tribe historically migrated all throughout these regions, so even extending all the way down into mainland Greece here, there's going to be some blue physical color characteristics, although certainly as we get to the Mediterranean coast, the green tribe is going to be the predominant color tribe. And that's the same thing with Turkey as well. Turkey is a very color-blended nation, obviously. There's some gold color energy from the Levant and bronze from really other areas of the Middle East. And then, of course, natively, Turkey was green for a very long time. And then some blue color energy from Eastern Europe and Russia as well. And then extending further here into other parts of the Middle East and Asia, there's going to be a lot of blending, of course, with the Bronze tribe. So in Azerbaijan and, of course, in Iran, there's going to be a lot of bronze blue people. And the same thing to a certain extent in areas of Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. Of course, then there's going to be a very strong yellow tribe color presence throughout Central Eurasia. So Kazakhstan, for example, is really primarily yellow-blue. And I would say overall, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan and even Tajikistan, there's going to be a lot of yellow energy. So they're probably a little bit more yellow-blue than really bronze, although certainly these are highly color-blended areas. All of Central Asia could really be described as bronze, yellow, blue, and that's why there's a lot of very diverse people and diverse cultures in this part of the world. And of course, that blue color energy is going to extend throughout Siberia and all the way to the Pacific Ocean very much, where it will also be mixed with a lot of yellow physical color characteristics and color energy. And then more recently, in the past 200 years or so, many blue people, especially from parts of Germany or Poland, as well as Russia and Belarus and the Ukraine and the Baltic states, really migrated, of course, to North America, especially Canada and the United States. So there'll be a lot of blue people in those regions of the world today as well. So there are actually two kinds of melanin that influence human physical characteristics: eumelanin and pheomelanin. Eumelanin is a darker pigment that comes in shades of brown and black, and people from tropical regions usually have a lot of eumelanin in their skin, eyes, and hair. Conversely, people from temperate regions usually have much less eumelanin in their skin, and often less in their eyes and hair as well. Pheomelanin is a lighter pigment that comes in shades of red and yellow, so tribes which represent a color that includes red and or yellow do indeed have subtle red and or yellow hues and undertones in their skin. The key point here is that there is no blue pheomelanin, and as a result, tribes that represent a color that includes blue don't have skin colors with similar subtle blue hues or undertones. Instead, these tribes signal their color alignment with other physical characteristics like lighter hair and eye colors, especially blue eyes. Mono blue people usually have very small amounts of brown eumelanin and very little pheomelanin in their skin, which imbues them with a variety of skin tones that range from almond beige to light tan. Because they have so little eumelanin in their skin, their blue veins are frequently visible, which sometimes gives them an icy blue aura. Their skin tans slightly better than mono-cyan people, but they still often have somewhat burnt skin tones in the summer sun. The majority of mono blue people have brown hair, which ranges from ashy to chestnut to golden, but some have sandy blonde or black hair as well. Their hair is typically medium to fine in texture and is usually straight or slightly wispy. Their eyes tend to be narrow to medium-sized with slightly prominent brows. Their eyes range widely in color from light brown to hazel, green, icy blue, or steel gray. Mono blue people usually have oblong or rectangular shaped faces that typically exhibit prominent but flat cheekbones, which create broad facial planes and rounded edges. Their jaw lines are usually broad but with a gently rounded terminus, forming a softened semicircle rather than a sharp chin. Their lips are typically medium to full and well defined, and they are usually held in a neutral or downward resting position. Mono blue people have a variety of different nose shapes, but they are usually straight, down-angled, or mildly convex. Their bodies are tall and elongated, with broad shoulders, strong necks, long torsos, and medium to large-sized builds. They normally have great strength and stamina. Mono blue men typically have moderate to heavy amounts of coarse body and facial hair. They often grow full mustaches and thick beards. So before we continue, we need to talk about universal energy signatures and metaphysical correspondences. In basic terms, UES are raw primal energetic forces that imbue many different things and categories within reality, especially key metaphysical systems like astrology, archetypes, chakras, and color tribes. As a result, specific units or attributes from each of these metaphysical systems, like Capricorn, the Manager, the Throat Chakra, and Blue, share natural corresponding relationships with the other attributes imbued by the same UES. Energy signatures also imbue each color tribe with gender, quality, and elemental energies. By studying each color tribe's aspects and corresponding attributes, we can learn about their unique metaphysical color energy. In truth, all human beings are meant to represent a color from the visible light spectrum. Using these color terms helps us more accurately describe human appearances, but they also help us understand each tribe's metaphysical color energy as well. Color energy strongly influences human attitudes, perspectives, and values regarding social systems, and as a result, people from different color tribes end up creating different cultures, ethnic groups, and nationalities. It is important to understand that unlike traditional physical classification ideas, color energy is a purely metaphysical phenomenon and has absolutely nothing to do with intelligence, moral character, or mental capabilities. So although each of these metaphysical systems are imbued by the same set of primal universal energy signatures, each of them has a primary sphere of influence where they tend to be more predominant. Astrology primarily influences our core personality, basic approach towards life, and fundamental sense of individual being. It governs our inner or emotional lives and core personal relationships with family, friends, lovers, and co-workers. It is the most complex of the spiritual sciences and the most attuned to who we are as multifaceted individual beings. Color energy primarily influences our cultural values, our attitudes towards governance, and the formation of social systems. It also gives people a specific color comportment or way of carrying and conducting themselves in public. Naturally, color-blended people have a more diverse, color-blended color energy. Archetypes primarily influence our professional life or the main reason, purpose, or goal behind our current incarnation. Primary archetypes define our core profession or purpose, while secondary archetypes modulate this primary energy. In essence, primary and secondary archetypes combine to make 144 unique sub-archetypes. To be clear, these spheres of influence are not mutually exclusive, and to a certain extent, these UES-imbued metaphysical attributes are layered on top of each other and do create a cumulative stacking effect. Nevertheless, each system does tend to predominate in these different spheres. So now let's go over the Blue Tribe's aspects and corresponding metaphysical attributes to help us get a better idea of what blue color energy is like. The Blue Tribe is a feminine cardinal earth tribe, and they are aligned with the throat chakra, the astrological sign Capricorn, and the number 10. They're also aligned with the manager archetype, which is very similar to the archetypal energy of the grandmother, the magistrate, the minister, and the bureaucrat. The core essence of these archetypes is reason. Mono blue color features are thoroughly saturated with metaphysical blue color energy. Their bodies and physique perfectly symbolize blue's feminine, cardinal, and earth aspects, while also naturally synchronizing with blue's corresponding attributes, Capricorn, the manager, and the throat chakra. Mono blue people have light blue hues from their veins, which often give them icy glacial complexions. They have a dignified and serene physical presence, and their facial expressions usually convey little more than a placid and pensive sense of reserved authority. Their long faces, high cheekbones, and soft, rounded jawlines perfectly exude the magistrate's stoic, prepared, and self-assured, business-like comportment. With drawn-back shoulder blades and straightened postures, they stand erect like stone pillars upholding ancient temples or colossal oaks rooted in primeval forests. Their movements are calm, slow, and methodical. They are rarely flailing or accidental. Whether they are tirelessly tilling the land or toiling at work, or joyfully dancing and celebrating a hard day's labor, they somehow manage to both plod and glide through life with a solemn sense of reverence. Like the mythical sea goat, they are graceful, strange, legendary, and stubborn all at once, perfectly at home in both swampy marshlands and jagged mountain peaks. Their gaze is usually cool and unreadable, but beneath the glassy calm of their frozen eyes lies a bottomless lake of unfathomable power and emotion. Their speech is low, sonorous, and liturgical, like a solemn pledge it invokes, commands, and enchants in the same breath. The Blue tribe was the 10th tribe to fully congeal around the beginning of the age of Pisces in 148 BC. Of course, as we discussed in the previous video, during most of the age of Aries, the cyan, blue, and violet tribes were mixed together in a large CBV color-blended block that originated from the Eurasian steppe. Indeed, the proto-CBV block started forming around the beginning of the age of Taurus in 4468 BC, and these early proto-CBV people were, culturally speaking, the Proto-Indo-Europeans. Then, over the next 4,000 years, these three color tribes began to separate, with the Cyan tribe settling in Western Europe, the Violet tribe in Northern Europe, and the Blue tribe remaining in the original Proto-CBV or Proto-Indo-European homeland of Eastern Europe and the Eurasian steppe. As the age of Pisces progressed, the Blue tribe established what would soon be known as the Slavic cultural horizon. We will discuss the complexities of the CBV and Indo-Europeans in future videos, but suffice it to say that despite being derived from the CBV Indo-Europeans, mono-blue Slavic culture is quite distinct and different in many ways from their more color-blended ancestors. Being imbued by feminine cardinal earth energy and aligned with Capricorn, the manager archetype, and the throat chakra, the Blue tribe was unsurprisingly advancing at a very slow and steady pace out of the primeval Russian forest into other parts of Europe, much in the same way that their sister Earth tribe, the Yellow tribe, was also advancing at a slow and steady pace out of the Yellow River basin into other parts of Asia. This stands in clear contrast to fire tribes like the ancient Cyan Celts and medieval Cyan Franks, or the ancient Bronze Mesopotamians and the medieval Bronze Arabs, who all expanded rapidly like wildfires across areas of Europe and the Middle East during the apex of their civilizations. Yet slow and steady usually wins the race, and while Cyan and Bronze expansions often flamed out just as quickly as they began, the steady, inexorable expansion of the Blue Slavic and Yellow Han Earth tribes permanently transformed the color tribe landscape of much of Eurasia in a way that has lasted all the way into modern times. This is largely due to the collective ideals Earth tribes often value, and indeed, this is why socialism and communism succeeded primarily in the homelands of the Blue and Yellow tribes in Eastern Europe and Northern Eurasia, but failed spectacularly in the Cyan and Bronze homelands in Western Europe and the Middle East, respectively. Of course, it is important to remember that most European cultures and nations are at least somewhat color-blended. As a result, predominantly blue Slavic nations in the Balkans are actually green-blue, while those near the Baltic Sea are actually mostly blue-violet. While this naturally creates two different types of color-blended cultural horizons, both the green and violet water tribes fertilize the hard blue soil with their own more positive spiritual watery essence. Certainly, predominantly blue Slavic cultures typically have a deep connection to the land, perfectly captured in their frequent preference for rural over urban living and strong agricultural values. These connections and values are also perfectly expressed by a phrase like Mother Russia. Predominantly blue Slavic cultures also tend to be obsessed with procedure and bureaucracy, perfectly captured by Dostoevsky's critique of the Imperial Russian state in Crime and Punishment, or Franz Kafka's critique of the blue-violet Austro-Hungarian state in The Trial. Nevertheless, the managerial energy the blue archetype provides has often helped blue cultures progress at a steady pace and embrace a sense of collective social responsibility that has served them well in both times of peace and war. Indeed, Russian militarism has always relied on this stoic and immovable earth energy during times of foreign invasion, counting on the unhesitating sacrifices of the average soldier and the grinding force of the Russian winter to annihilate armies foolish enough to try and conquer their land. While blue cultures tend to value collective solidarity, their bureaucratic Capricorn earth energy does often create somewhat more authoritarian governments. Although most predominantly blue states have largely transitioned to more Western-style democratic types of government in the past 30 years, progress has often been slow and hampered by Earth energy's reluctance to change rapidly. Whereas the fiery Scion tribe expresses their throat chakra energy through acting, theater, and popular music, the earthy blue tribe tends to channel their throat chakra energy in more contemplative, literary, philosophical, and scientific ways. Indeed, the classic blue Slavic literary and philosophical mentality usually emphasizes not trying to struggle too greatly against the seemingly inevitable injustices of the world, focusing instead on trying to live a good life. In 1,000 different ways, we can easily see how this feminine cardinal earth energy, so closely aligned with Capricorn, the manager archetype, and the throat chakra, has so thoroughly imbued blue cultures for the past 3,000 years. All right, thank you for joining me on this journey of human color tribe exploration and celebration of human diversity. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with others. Next up, we are going to journey to sub-Saharan Africa and find out what is going on with the indigo color tribe. For now, I want you to know that you are wonderful, you are beautiful, and you are absolutely perfect just the way you are. Know that I love you very much and that God loves you very much as well. Many blessings. We will see you again soon.